Great. So my name's Dave Hill, Jr. This is going to be a workshop, a participatory workshop on overcoming self-doubt, working with your self-doubt more compassionately, with more self-compassion. We're going to talk about that. I'll introduce myself in a minute, but I just love to get to know a little bit of who's in the room. So like, how many folks here are musicians? Yeah, just musicians at the NAMM show. Great. Wow, just about everybody. How many folks would consider themselves artists as well? Okay. Anybody here that's a business person, starting a business or has a business, some kind of entrepreneurial? Okay, great. And anything else anybody wants to shout out of why they're here they're not a musician, they're not an artist? Yeah, go ahead. Education, students, okay. Great, what are you studying? Music ed, okay, yeah, teachers, future teachers. Awesome. Okay, yeah, well, great, you're in the right place. We're going to do this and have a little fun. So I'd like to start out with just this premise that everybody has self-doubt. There might be a few that fake it better than others. They might say, oh, I don't have self-doubt. But usually somewhere in there, or sometime in their history, they've had self-doubt. I've had a lot of self-doubt. I still have self-doubt. I'm going to talk about that. Tom Hanks, no matter what we've done, there comes a point where you think, how did I get here? When are they going to discover that I am in fact a fraud and take everything away from me? This is Tom Hanks. How many hit movies do you have to make before your self-doubt vanishes? And we're going to talk about my book. The point is, Doubt Riding Shotgun, self-doubt doesn't go away. It's just riding alongside all the time. It's about how you listen, okay? So inevitably what comes up when we talk about self-doubt is self-confidence. You know, Nike has the slogan, just do it, right? Or you hear grit, right? There's all sorts of slogans out there that you're just supposed to ignore it, right? Well, that didn't work for me. I had to write my own book, figure out my own head. So a lot of the voices we hear are things like, you know, am I talented? Am I good enough? Do I have a chance? Am I worth it? Am I nuts? That's a good one. Are any of these voices familiar with folks out here? Any show of hands of like, are these voices you might sometimes have? Okay, great. See, I knew you were in the right place. Super, it's day 2 of NAMM. You've got it all figured out. So today's goals for our little workshop, I want you to hopefully improve your relationship with self-doubt, just a little bit. We're not going to have radical transformation in 1 hour, but I think I'm going to posit that you can improve your relationship just a bit. I want you to come away with one tool that you can implement in your life. Might be a tactic, might be a technique. I'm going to talk about those a little later on, and we'll experiment with a few. And I want you to learn to love your self-doubt a little more, which may sound strange at first, but I'm going to teach you, hopefully today, you'll accept, I can only show the information, that self-doubt is actually trying to protect you. It's actually trying to help you out. But it doesn't feel that way. It can feel really nasty, right? Really debilitating. And so that's why we're here. So why am I here? Just want to give you a quick background on maybe why you want to listen to me, and maybe you don't. That's okay too. So my career, I've been to many NAMM shows. I was the first guy Ableton hired in the US. I wrote the world's first book on Ableton Live back in 2003. Yeah, and I was at the company 8 years. I founded the US office, and it was a great ride, had a lot of fun. Then I went on to Isotope. I was the VP of Sales and Marketing for 5 years as well there. Quadrupled the size of the company, had a lot of fun, raised money, built a lot of great products. I was a successful VP of Marketing, doing all the right things, and miserable inside. Making money, everybody's happy. I'm coming to the NAMM show, and everyone's like excited to see me, and I'm like, man, you know, if you only knew, like I didn't think things were going great. So I worked with all these companies and way more. So I did partnerships with, you know, I got Ableton into the Apple Store at one point. I got Ableton into Best Buy, you know, which were a tiny little company were big achievements. I worked with Guitar Center and all the, we had many partnerships. You've seen Live Light maybe and all those. And I worked with a lot of people and did a lot of successful things. So that's my kind of business career. And at some point I got burnt out, and I started working with a coach who was really great. It helped me change. I worked with a couple coaches, found the right one, and then it helped me actually change. So then I started to dedicate my life to coaching. I did some consulting for a while, but since about 2016, I've been coaching sometimes executives, sometimes artists, songwriters, and those sort of folks on a whole variety of issues. Self-doubt is one of them that kept coming up and again. But as I trained to become a coach, I learned about my own self-doubt. So I've done a lot of things. I'm an author. I've got one book out. I'm working on a second. I'm a certified master coach in a method called integral coaching. Professional drummer for most of my life. Yeah, drummers. Drum on. And in the last couple years, the crazy thing is I became a songwriter, singer-songwriter. I never thought I could write a song. And I realized in all my working with this self-doubt, I went, oh, what better way to work on self-doubt than to write songs and sing them in front of people? So, man, talk about being at your edge. These are words that came out of my head and are now coming out of my mouth, and I'm bearing my soul to you after, and I'm 54, no reason to write songs, but except it feels really good. It's like my musical therapy. So I feel like I'm up against my own self-doubt all the time, and that's why I'm continuing to do these workshops. Coaching one person at a time is great, but when I can open up and talk to a whole group of people, it's so much more powerful. So that's why I'm here. And as I said, yes, I still have self-doubt. Even walking over here today, I'm like, is anyone going to come to this thing? It might be, I walked in yesterday, there were like 3 or 4 people in some of the workshops, and you just never know. And I'm like, will people find this room? I had trouble finding this room first day. So, but I had to say, I just got to trust my material, trust that Giles and friends will show up, Giles and company, yeah. Wands, Chris, all my peeps. So, all right. So, doubt voices. So I thought it might be interesting to hear a few doubt voices in Ableton. Why not?
I think you're qualified.
Yeah, so these are some of my voices.
You're not good enough. I doubt that's going to work.
Yeah.
What are people going to say? What if they notice?
Yeah.
You've never been that kind of person.
Right. Yeah. So those are my doubt voices, Any of those familiar out there? Yeah, maybe a couple? Okay. They probably shouldn't be too familiar, because then you're in my head, and that might be weird. So, all right, so I want to talk about a little theory here before we get into the work. So I think I've broken down self-doubt, at least as I see it, and it might be different for you, that there's about 4 sort of families of doubt. So one is my biggest for me, not good enough. Just, man, I'm not good enough yet. Yet also sometimes is there. But sometimes it's just not good enough. Oh, I just missed my window, started writing songs at 52. What an idiot. Should have done this when I was 15. That's the only way you make it in this business, right? Option paralysis. So this is like, oh man, there's just too many ways to go. Too many. This is like as a coach and solopreneur. Here's how you promote your coaching business. Oh yeah, here's the list of 50 things you're supposed to do. It's like, well, now where do I start? I've only got one day and 24 hours, and I got 2 kids, and I got a lot of things to do. How do I get going? Perfectionism. Perfectionism might be related, but it's like, I think it's a special kind of self-doubt where it's like, oh no, it can always be better. Keep going. Oh, it's not quite perfect yet, right? We search for that perfect thing. And then imposter syndrome. It's a whole bunch of types of self-doubt, but I think imposter syndrome looks like, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to be here. Or people are going to find out that I'm actually a fraud. I definitely had this as a VP at times. I'm like, who? A VP? And it's a tiny little company. We were maybe 150 people, Isotope at the peak. But I'm a VP, and I'd go meet a VP at another company, and there'd be like, they'd have thousands of people underneath them. And I'd go, well, am I really a VP? But yeah, that was my title. But there's so many ways to chip away. And I think especially true, by the way, for women in business. I've coached a lot of women, and imposter syndrome shows up in a big way, and it's an efficiency killer for business. I mean, just the capital loss we have of women who won't say, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I've got something to offer. It's a huge problem. So I see it all the time. All right. So this is kind of a repost of those. I did add one in here called comparison doubt, which is sort of a flavor that I think runs again throughout, like you can hear that in everything. Comparison is like, we do this all the time. We say, oh, this is social media's problem, right? We look at these people and we're like, oh, but can I really release a song if they have that song? Or can I Am I really a great drummer if I just watch this video with this legend? You know, and we compare our first step or even our 50th step with someone else's 2000th step. And we're thinking we're supposed to somehow, and also, you know, who's the judge of all this, right? But it's madness, and we buy in. You know, it's very common. So, a couple of things, a little more theory. So, where doubt comes from, I talk a little bit in the book about the difference between like self-esteem type of doubt versus self-confidence type of doubt. You know, that's a big difference. So, self-esteem and like self-love is a thing, right? It's like how much do you believe in yourself, believe in your ability to overcome things. It's going to be a very different type of doubt if that's hurting or that's lacking than for self-confidence, where it might just be, hey, I just need to build a skill. I just need to learn how to play piano better, you know. But if you don't believe that you're worth that time or worth that effort, that's a different sort of thing. So I want to point that out because I'm not a therapist, and I talk about self-love and such on my blog and different things, but I want you to know that if self-love and self-esteem is part of your challenge, that's some work you need to do. And I would encourage you to do that with someone who really can speak to that. That's not the work we're going to do today. We're going to be a little more flippant, a little more expedient, okay? So experience is another one, right? Like this is the classic imposter syndrome. How can you be a professional drummer if I only have 1 year of experience? Or how can I be a business person, a successful business person, if I've only been doing it for, you know, I've heard people say, oh, I've only been in business for 10 years, you know, I'm still learning. I'm like, well, that's a long time. You know, you have a lot of experience. Lacking self-worth, I talked about that, self-esteem. And then comparison to others. So this is where doubt comes from. I'd add one thing that's not on the slide too, is sometimes we just inherit doubt voices from other people. Like I've had this, I'm writing a song, my song's feeling pretty good to me. I'm like, yeah, man, I wrote this. Oh, cool. All right. And I play it for a friend, and they're like, yeah, like your voice is a little weird there. And are you sure you're in the right key? Maybe you should try a different key or something. I was like, oh, well, I guess now you say that. Now I'm starting to hear that. Okay, well, maybe and then I have had the experience where I didn't change the key, and actually I found other people who liked it. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So this person liked it, but then this dear friend of mine told me I'm terrible. So who am I listening to here, you know? So it's maddening, right? You get in this circle of like, who am I listening to? So other people's doubt can sometimes become ours. Sometimes it's your parents, right? How many people probably have a doubt voice in their head from their parents or their upbringing, caregiver? Right, yeah. We were talking about like, yeah, growing in a family is very risk averse, and it's like.
It was meant out of care, but it kind of works the reverse on you.
Yeah, right. They're protecting you, right? Which is right on point with where we're going here. So let's talk about the positive side of doubt. So I've been dishing some hate on doubt for a minute, but now let's talk about this. So I really believe self-doubt is there to protect us. And I sometimes use the metaphor, it's like the rumble strips on the freeway, where, you know, if you hopefully don't hit them too often, but once in a while you kind of go, you know, oh, stay in your lane, right? So doubt is saying, stay in your lane, don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass the family, don't look like an ass, right? Don't lose money, don't lose time, you know. When I wrote my book, I hired an editor at one point and then hired her again for a second round because I was worried it didn't really read right. And I was like, it's just not reading fluidly. That's a good kind of self-doubt because I think it made it a better book. But I didn't do it a third time, right? And this is where at some point you have to drive the car, right? Okay. Taylor Swift. This is a person, I was surprised to find this quote. I thought, this amazing business person and incredible artist has no self-doubt, I was sure. But no, had a lot of self-doubt when she started out. I thought people might look at someone in my position and think, she's got it all. But it hasn't been easy, right? So I don't think it matters what your level is. By the way, the Muppet theme, maybe it's a little corny, but I'm a big Muppet fan. Kenny Rogers went on The Gambler when I was like 8 years old, and I lost my mind. And so I've been like following the Muppets ever since. So I kind of use Muppets and fake AI Muppets and stuff just because it inspires me. So I hope you don't think I'm a total, see, there's my self-doubt. Okay. All right, so this is the exercise we're going to go through in the workshop today. We're going to find your doubt. I'm going to help you find your doubt. We're going to get really precise together. And I'm going to have you name your doubt, which is a really fun exercise. Giles has done once with me. And then we're going to talk about taming your doubt. Okay? Got to name it to tame it, right? All right, so this is the participatory part of things. So I'm going to call on someone here to come up in the room and tell us an embarrassing story. Okay? So I want you to just think. So I'm just going to be random. I'm going to probably just choose one of you. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to have you speak in front of this whole group of people and tell them an embarrassing story. And a couple people offered to participate. Okay? So what comes to mind right now when I say that? What's the self-doubt that you're worried about? What's going through your mind? Just think about it for a second. Notice what's going on. I might call on you. Over here, I might call on you. Okay? Okay, now I'm not going to call on anybody. But what I want you to now know is that you have self-doubt. So does anyone want to share what there was a self-doubt voice like? Does anyone? Yeah. Oh, go ahead, right here.
So for me, wait, did you want me to say exactly what it was thinking?
The self-doubt. Yeah, I don't want you to tell me a story.
Immediately, I was thinking that if I said my story, people are going to judge me immediately. And then
You're
if I go out of the door, they see me again and go, oh, that's that person with that story. And now they don't see me as an educator.
Perfect. I'm going to be judged. Hang on to that. That's beautiful. Sir, with the glasses? Just second one. Yeah, you.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually kind of thinking my story won't be good enough.
Won't be good enough.
I was thinking that too. Like,
well, this story, it's not embarrassing enough. It's probably they'd have better embarrassing stories. Yeah. Right, totally. Yeah, great.
It'll totally reveal me as arrogant and like full of myself.
Oh, yeah, you'll be arrogant. And then what would happen if you were seen as arrogant?
I mean, people wouldn't want to talk to me.
They wouldn't want to talk to you. Okay, I want to just spotlight that move I just did. I said, so, and then what? Okay, this is a voice you can use with doubt. And then what? I call it go all the way to hell. Go where doubt is scared to take you. Okay, this is a tool you can use. Okay, if you want to take one tool. Oh, what is doubt afraid of? Because often we find, and I found, it's actually not a big deal. It's like, oh, I might waste 5 minutes on this, or I might people might think, they might judge me. Well, do I care if they judge me? No, I don't even care. I'm 54. I don't have much time left. Judge it all you want, right? Okay, so go ahead.
Well, I was going to add to like what you were saying before. Like I guess it would be like failure, which could lead to rejection, which leads to discouragement.
Right. Okay, so I'll be discouraged.
Then you end up not doing anything.
So I won't do anything because I'll be discouraged. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Thanks for the shares. So hopefully, is there anyone here not finding a doubt voice? Like this is where I'm going to be a little risky here. Is anyone like not finding anything that they were concerned about when they were sharing their embarrassing story? Or have you all got something to work with today? Everyone does? Great. Okay, because if you have something, it's going to be way juicier than if you don't. Okay. So now we're going to do a little adjective hunting. So I want you to think about what does that voice sound like? Like you heard my nasally kind of voice on my Ableton samplers. Like what does your voice sound like if you were to describe that voice to another person? So I'll put a list of adjectives here that I think are helpful. Yours might be totally different. Feel free. And it could be as mean or as clever as you want. What's that?
It's a whisper.
It's a whisper. It's a whispering voice. So it's maybe sneaky.
It's a sneaky voice.
Sneaky voice. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, and you even have a sneaky moniker on your laptop. Cool. Right. Okay. So can everyone pick? Does anyone need help finding some adjectives? This can sometimes be helpful in the group, but if you feel like you've got, yeah. And I think only one or two is all you really need, just for the exercise. We're going to name your doubt pretty quickly coming up. Okay. Everybody, anyone need some help? It's okay to ask. I'm here to help. Got some adjectives? No fun, belittling, inflexible, overcritical, shaming. Okay. Penelope Cruz, well, you've seen enough quotes. You get it. All right. So here's my self-doubt voice. This is my guy. Judgy McJudgeface. This is him. And it helps me, by the way, to have this whimsical picture because it's like I look at this and I'm like, yeah, do I really want to listen to this guy? Like, would you listen to this guy about anything? I mean, seriously, if you showed up at court and this was your guy, you'd be like laughing. You'd be like, come on, how can I take this serious, right? So the point is now, we're going to name your passenger, okay? So naming tips, you're going to take your 2 adjectives, and you can write this down, you can put it in your phone, you can just get it in your head, whatever you like to do. I like to make it fun or playful. Judgy McJudge face works for me because it's going to be easier to remember. And I think also when you're doing this kind of work, I like to do it with a light heart. This goes for my coaching business as well. It's like I think we have to do our development with a light heart. Therapy is important. And I love me a good therapist, but you know, that's the work where you're crying and you're working through stuff. And you might cry, laugh through some of this self-doubt work. But I think for self-doubt, it's like, I want to play with this in real time because that's when the problem is. This isn't about my parents. They're not here anymore. This is about me working through something, and I want to have a light heart when I'm doing this work. I like to use alliteration. My example doesn't have that exactly, but I just use the same word, judgy McJudge face. But alliteration would be something like Mad Max, Silly Sue, something like that, right? That kind of makes it fun. I like using AI or your own handwriting to draw an image of this self-doubt voice. Personify it. Make it outside of you. Okay, this is an important move. This is backed up by psychology. They call it the subject to object move, okay? When it's subjective, when it feels like it's our voice, self-doubt, it's like it's us. And my point is, you are not your self-doubt. You are way more than your self-doubt. Your self-doubt is just a piece of you. It's a voice that you've chosen to hang on to for some reason. But there's a lot of you left that's not that self-doubt voice. And you've had many moments in your life where you did not listen to the self-doubt voice, right? So drawing it, making a crazy image, it's really helpful. So I have a little group coaching program I have called Doubters Anonymous, 8 billion strong and growing, where we talk about our self-doubt and personify it like this. So here's some examples from my group coaching over the last year. One example was simply called their self-doubt voice, nope. This guy was triple P, perfectionist, protector, peanut gallery. Mr. Cynical von Smuggington. Yeah. Dr. Krabby Crazy, Stay Small Sally. Dr. Watson Worry. That was a British gentleman. That wasn't you. I won't out you. Miss Prissy. Not Quite There Yet, Ned. I love that one. That's another songwriter friend of mine. Play It Small. Oh, Mr. Play It Small. I got more. Mrs. Doubtfire. Not bad, not bad. Procrastination Patty. I like this guy, a punk rock buddy of mine. Debbie Downer Doubter in the No Doubt t-shirt. Oh, it can be, by the way, it can be male or female, no matter what your gender is, okay? Or genderless, like it could be Godzilla or something. But you can just play with it. Don't worry about it has to be like you. In fact, the more it's not like you, I think the better. The no fun bureaucrat, Beetlejuice. I had a woman who said it's just Beetlejuice. So that way I say Beetlejuice, 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 and it goes away. So, yeah. So Billie Eilish talking about her self-doubt. There was a period where I was doubting myself because I thought all my ideas were bad. And here I am watching Billie Eilish at whatever age she was, 17, thinking, oh, well, she's 17, so she thinks all her ideas are good. Because that's what my teenage sons think. So I'm thinking, right, that's how it goes. And she thought her ideas were bad. Amazing. Okay, so let's play a little bit. So anybody got a name starting to work on their self-doubt? Maybe some adjectives or something they might share? And yeah, I think you can just yell it out and people can hear. So go ahead.
Mr. Won't Shut Up.
Mr. Won't Shut Up. Beautiful. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, yeah, please.
Simon Scowl, because he's overcritical.
Oh, Simon Scowl. I love that.
Steve
Nice.
Sarcasm.
Steve Sarcasm. I can feel that.
Whispering Warrior.
The Whispering Warrior? Worrier, or the Whispering Worrier.
Always worried.
Worry. Yeah.
Too much BB free. Her name is BB. She is a
Too much BB free.
She's free and it's too much.
Too much. Too much. And if she was free too much, what might happen?
My anxiety just acts up.
Your anxiety acts up. And then what happens?
She's super anxious and overcritical.
And overcritical. Okay. All right. Good shares. Thank you. And yeah.
Seductive Cynic.
The seductive cynic. Whew, okay. Yeah. So doubt can be very seductive, right? And self-doubt can be very clever, too. And so the other thing I will say is, as you start playing with these names, sometimes it can change. Like, it's almost like sometimes as soon as I think I've seen Judgy McJudgeface, it starts to become something else. I'm like, oh, now it's like not good enough Ned, like this week. So it can change a little bit, especially, it's like, oh, I'm on to you, right? And so this is the way our ego, sometimes I call it the strategic mind, is worried about our life trajectory. It's trying to help us move forward, stay in our lane, do all these things right, according to, I don't know, mom and dad, the way we think things are supposed to go.
Status quo.
Status quo, right. Any self-doubt names over here? Any ideas? You won't be graded. Yeah.
Shameful Steve.
Shameful Steve.
Steve.
Steve. Okay, and you put, oh, I like that. Okay, yeah, nice. See, you add a little whimsy. So then it's like, it's not just Steve, it's Steve.
Yeah, it's more
Cool.
memorable.
I love it. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I'm trying to decide what his second name is. No discipline. We'll call it Dan.
Dan. No discipline, Dan.
I want to use another word, but no.
Okay. Yeah. You can use whatever words. It's your personal self-doubt voice. Yeah. Go ahead. Did you have one too?
Sure. Mine is Timid Tommy.
Timid Tommy. Yeah, timid is one that shows up a lot, right? And so, like, do you mind sharing, like, what timid Tommy might be concerned about? Let's get sit down for a second.
I think a concern might be sounding like an idiot in front of
You might sound like an idiot.
people, or like not properly articulating.
Okay. So then I'm going to do my trick. So, and then what would happen?
And then people wouldn't think I'm a cool guy.
People wouldn't think I'm a cool guy. Let's keep going. So, and then what might happen? If people don't think you're a cool guy, Caden, and you look like a cool guy to me, but so people might not think you're a cool guy, then what might happen?
Then it's going to be hard to connect with people.
It's going to be hard to connect with people. Okay, and then what might? So then what's so bad about that?
I won't make any connections, or I won't like have, I don't know.
You might be alone.
Yeah.
Might be alone, right? So you can see, so timid Tommy. Timid Tommy is concerned that Caden might be alone, right? Who can you feel into that? Can you feel into that story? Like, who? Raise your hand if you can feel into that. Like, what's that like? You know, it's not fun. And is it like, now let's say, who thinks that's 50% true? Who thinks that's 20% true? Right? I mean, it's just no way. And this is the thing. So self-doubt paralyzes us from action because it's worried about something that's never going to happen. But we take it on the surface and we go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, better not. Better be timid. All right, it's a great example. Thanks for letting me play in all your minds. You know, I know this is kind of maybe a weird workshop compared to what we do. So here's another how to tame your doubt exercise. So I wanted to give you tools, remember, for this. This is one that's tried and true. I've done this many times. Write a letter to doubt. So we won't do this today because I think probably there's not full time. I want to leave some time for questions. So I would just say, make a to-do for yourself. Write a letter. It can be a short letter. Oh, here, let me give you my tips. It's on the next slide. So, by the way, actually do this. Like, I know you hear a lot of things. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this. No, journaling is really got a lot of science behind it. It's very well proven to help us. And I think writing a letter to self-doubt does, again, this thing I talked about, the move from subjective to objective. So it becomes objective. You're now objectively looking at doubt. And you're saying, dear timid Timmy. Is that right? Timid. What'd you say?
It's Tommy.
Tommy. Timid Tommy. I didn't say this is a memory class. This is a class on self-doubt. Okay, so timid Tommy. So dear timid Tommy, and let him have it. You know, let your self-doubt voice have it. Sorry. First of all, say something you appreciate. Forgot that. Very important. Try to see if you can find one silver lining. What do you appreciate about your self-doubt voice? Like, you know, I know you're trying to help me not be alone. I know you're really concerned about my well-being, and I really appreciate you looking out for me all my life and thinking that that's something you're concerned about. However, here's where you let them have it. However, not now. You're being a pain in the butt. You know, I don't need this. I'm working on some other things. This is a chance for me to stretch. I'm going to actually push out beyond where I am. So I would say keep your self-doubt image handy. You might like look at the image while you're writing the letter. Sometimes it helps to just like look at that image and go, okay, I'm writing this letter to you. And then, of course, you can, this is sort of optional, but rip and burn this letter and be done with it, a little closure. And when you're feeling self-doubt again, write him another letter, him or her, right? It sounds silly. I know this feels, with my Muppet slides and this thing feels maybe a little Oprah or something, but listen, it's really powerful to journalize and also have that objective move where you're objectively working with this voice. I've experienced it. My clients have experienced it. I think it's really helpful. So it's a tool to try. I wanted to give you one tool. Now we're going to talk about some remedies. First of all, any questions on that exercise, on the letter? Yeah, go ahead.
It's not really, it's just understanding someone, like,
Yeah.
this might be dating our age.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
But like, this exercise is supposedly like that Adam Sandler movie, The Water Boy, is like picture something that isn't as intimidating in front of you. And so that way you can like achieve that goal and like the fear won't
Okay.
dominate you.
Maybe. I think of it a little differently. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but I think what I'm thinking of is it's like this is recognizing that it's a part of you, but it's really not the whole you. And it's saying, I'm going to take some time to actually speak to this self-doubt voice and in an objective way, instead of me saying, this is my voice, what's wrong with me? This is what typically happens. I am doubtful, therefore there's something wrong with me. Because other people just have no problem. They just jump up on stage, right? This guy Dave's got a microphone and he's swinging, like, no, my hand's shaking, like, we all live in this BS world, right, of like assuming. So did I answer that question right? It was a good question. Did everyone hear his question? Okay, in the back? Anyone? No? He was asking, like, is it sort of like the Waterboy movie where it's just like, imagine that this force in front of me is actually really small and I can overcome it. I mean, that's kind of like a visualization technique. I think it's a little different. What we're talking about is really doing some reflection work and making something more objective. Okay, great question. Yeah, sneaky.
Do you quote the voice in your letter? Like, do you?
You can,
like,
sure.
You said this stuff to me.
Yeah, no rules. I think you're writing a letter to this voice, and whatever you feel like saying in your heart is fine. And it might shift. Like this week, you might write a different letter than when you write during another time.
So do you keep writing these letters? Like
I think when
periodically?
I write one probably every couple months at this point. But I think when I was first doing this work, it might have been every week. And it would be a journal entry. So yeah, go ahead.
The thing with this kind of exercise,
Yeah.
journaling, is like I feel like I've worked really hard to put this in a little box and buried it deep, deep in my brain, and it's if I open the box.
Oh yeah, it's scary. Mm-hmm.
Well, I might die.
Right. Yeah.
How do I not? I don't know.
This is
it just a matter of like telling people close to you that you're gonna like start trying to do this, or is it like about?
It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about your voice in public, or is that?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, okay.
For me, this kind of self-reflection it's like a black hole.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like this is how I've learned to kind of visualize.
Yeah. Self-reflection is like a black hole. Do you need a microphone? I wonder if can people hear in the back?
Yeah.
You can hear. Okay, great.
And it's like it's gonna suck me in and rip me to 1,000 pieces, and I might jump in front of a bus to make it stop. Like it sounds quite melodramatic,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah,
a really
sure.
scary
Yeah.
thing that confronting that. And so I know that you're supposed to journal, and I know you're supposed to go to therapy and talk about it.
Right,
It's
right.
like I feel like even like introductory exercises, and I mean this just might be speaking to my deep, big.
Yeah. Well, this is why I mentioned it. Sometimes it can be like a self-esteem, or it could be even like there's such thing as, I'm not saying this is you, but there is clinical anxiety.
Yes.
There is clinical depression. Right. So these are times where I think you need to use some care and get the right help.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and this is not the place for that today, but I think that the idea of like knowing, okay, you know, maybe your relationship to journaling, maybe there's some stuff there that's just too big right now for you to handle. And I like the first thing you said was, should I tell people I'm doing this work? So it's almost like it felt a little bit like maybe you know that you need some support.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, getting some support, and however that best serves you, whether it's a friend group, you know, a community of people doing similar types of risky work, whatever what you're trying to break through. You know, we're all better in communities, right? As I've been writing songs, I've been meeting other songwriters, and it's so great to have other people who, even if they are nothing like me, and they write songs totally different genre, whatever, just to talk to them and feel how it works, you know. So, but go ahead.
Letter writing club.
A letter writing club, yeah. Could even be an anonymous thing online, or it could be people that you know, actually, yeah.
I would say
Fit.
you're not alone.
Yeah, right,
I mean,
okay,
you're
there you go.
You're a very lovely one. You're probably very unique in your way, but
Right.
we all share.
Yeah.
You're not by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you if this work is too scary or too big. And why I said things like do it with a light heart and, you know, try to have some fun with this, because I think, you know, it depends on the type of doubt we're talking about and the type of, and where you are in your life and what you're working on. That's why, you know, this is one workshop, but it's, you know, hopefully you get a glimpse at it, and then it's just saying, what kind of support do I really need for my journey? You know, what does that look like? You know, and there's lots of other things I talk about in the book and things I've learned since that are things like I do this thing called yoga nidra, which is like basically like a morning yoga laying down meditation thing that's been really transformational for me. I don't know if that would work for everybody. It's how I came to it. I had my journey and my trip and everything. You know, we all have, there's no silver bullet or secret formula. I'm not the guy to profess that. What I'm trying here to do is expose ideas and get you thinking differently about it. And maybe get one tool, that's my goal. One tool, see I started to add goals. One tool to just start thinking differently. So, but thanks for sharing. Thanks for being vulnerable and saying, hey, you know, maybe this doesn't work for me. That's totally cool. So, any other questions on the letter writing or anything up till now? I'm going to give you like 3 more. How are we doing time, by the way? 12:07. Got 20 minutes. Perfect. Great. Okay. So let me press on, and then we're going to have questions pretty soon. So here's 3 remedies that are really like, I felt like geared towards artists and musicians, that sort of thing. I think my slides are also available on the site. I'm not sure about that, or if not, I'll give you my email address, and I'm happy to email you the slides later. So, in fact, I have a web page where I do a video of this presentation. If you want this whole presentation, not this exact one, but there'll be one. So it's just davehilljr.com/NAMM. I'll share that in a minute. But I see everyone trying to photo everything, and it's hard. So I think most important, so you're a musician, you're an artist, so one really important thing is why? Why do you create? Really being in tune with your motivation and your passion. This can be huge. And I know it sounds simple, but it's not always simple. Because like for me at 52 when I started writing songs, it's like, why am I doing this? I'm not trying to go on tour. I got 2 kids at home, a wife. I don't, you know, and I've done that. I used to play professionally, you know, on the road and whatnot. So I had to really get in touch with me, and for me, it's been about healing. I write music because it's just so cathartic. It's just an amazing place to be in, and it feels so good to share it and connect with even one person. So like letter writing, sometimes a technique that's really helpful with self-doubt is to say, who's one person that I want to write this song for? Or who's one person I want to perform for? Or who's one person I want to build my business for? Don't try to build it for the world. Because if you start building it for the world, you can always find ways to chip away at it. But it's like, if I'm writing this song, I think this one person, it could also be an imaginary person, pro tip. I think this imaginary fan I got that's living somewhere in New Jersey, they're just going to love this song. I can just feel it. I can feel it. I don't know. New Jersey just came to me. Just felt like the right place. So, feeling scrappy today. Feeling a little tough. I don't know.
Feeling not like New York?
You're feeling, yeah, not quite like New York. I lived in New York a long time, so yeah. So that's a thing, right? So just thinking about why. So does anyone brave enough to share a little bit of what their why is, why they make music, why they create? I think it could be bold to state it. So, okay, a lot of hands went up. So go ahead, right in the middle, yeah? Connection with others. Yeah, that's a big one. That's great. So I'm writing this music. I'm doing this. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone because I'm connecting with others. See how powerful that can be? Already just me saying that, it feels good. So yeah. Next, go ahead.
I feel like if I don't, then I'm wasting God's gift.
If I don't, I'm wasting God's gift. Wow. Yeah. It is pressure, but but for some people that's beautiful. It's like yeah. Go ahead.
It's like my self-organizing principle. It's like how I figure out how I feel and think.
It's how yeah. It's my art therapy. It's how I figure out how I feel about things, how I feel, make sense of the world. Right? Yes. Wands.
To remind myself that my feelings aren't singular. They're not only, I know there are other people who have to feel the way that I feel.
Yeah.
And when you put that in,
there's other people
who can relate.
Who feel these feelings. I'm not the only one, right? Great. I've missed a few, but we're getting gold up here. Hopefully you're all taking this in. I'm trying to repeat it back so you hear it. Yeah. Go ahead.
To elaborate on everything that everyone
Yeah.
said, it's like to create a healthy distraction for others, to distract them from these things that obviously inhibit their successes, goals.
Right. I want to do something positive in the world, give people a distraction. Right. Beautiful. Yeah. In the back. We'll get. Yeah. First time. Yes. Jump on in.
To have like a safe space to grow and to also be yourself.
To have a safe space to grow and also be yourself. Love it. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. In the brown.
It's what I hear in my head, so I might as well get it out there. And
yeah.
I like it. That's good enough for me.
If I like it, it's good enough for me. Yeah. It's what's in my head. Yeah. I've been taking this Brian Eno songwriting class lately, and it's amazing, full of pearls of wisdom. And he talks about kind of that in a way, like if I like it, I just assume somebody else up there will like it. And he's done a lot of music that have just hasn't really been successful, and he's done a few things that have been just wildly successful. So it's like that sense of just I'm not that different than everyone else. There's someone out there that might like this. So being in touch with your motivation, your passion, I think I put it number one because I think it's so huge as an artist and a musician. We are so susceptible to comparison doubt, all the types of doubt we talked about, not good enough. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So healthy mindset. So this is could be a 2-day workshop in itself, healthy mindset. We're talking a little bit around it, but just noticing your mindset, is already something. Like, what is my mindset like? Meaning, what do I program myself with? Am I getting up in the morning and looking at my phone, looking at the news first thing before I, jump into things? Do I believe that I'm a learning, capable person? And just starting to notice that, this might be, some of the work we were talking about a minute ago when we were talking about maybe therapy, maybe different types of deep transformational work is sometimes that's needed to just get your mind right, get healthy,
Could it be like meditation?
Meditation, I'm a huge fan of meditation, absolutely. Yeah, mindfulness, meditation, all that stuff. I heard a story about Neil Young making his latest record, who's the guy who's made so many records. And he was like, I just would walk in the woods with my recorder, and it'd usually take an hour before I'd start having ideas, and after an hour I'd start to have ideas. And then I'd come back and sit at the piano and start playing. And it's so Neil Young has got to get his head right, So how do I get my head right? How do I take care of my mind and mindset so that I'm able to be creative, able to be productive? Okay, and whatever that is for you. I can't create all the recipes, okay? I think there's plenty of information out there. In fact, what I'd say is there's too much information out there. The problem is not information. The problem we usually have is stopping the information and listening to the whispers that are already here, which hopefully you've done a little bit of today, So building support is another one. So we talked about, having a community. Community is huge for artists, right? Community is huge for combating self-doubt. Finding healthy communities. So taking a look at the people you hang out with, taking a look at the people you call for support, where do you show your art to? Be careful about that. Find people that are supportive. So I have what's called musician's baggage. I've been playing drums for 40 years, and my job was to get to the gig and rock, and it better be good, right? I mean, Wands and I used to play together, and we'd get the set list, and maybe we'd rehearse half of it, maybe, or 2 songs, yeah. And then we got to go. We're playing for 4 hours. We got to rock. It's no joke. So then I start writing songs, and I would play them for my musician friends, and they were rough. They'd say, well, this is, I don't know, man, like the drums aren't really right on this. And it's like, well, yeah, I know, I'm still writing it. So I had to find people who understood that space. Who's in the rough space? You know, who's in the rough draft? Who's in that room? But don't send your song that's not polished out to somebody that's expecting polished work, because they're just going to give you their doubt voices. And you don't need it then. You need your own encouragement. Who's going to encourage you? It's also probably not your mother. You know, your mother or your father or your caregiver might give you some beautiful words, but it's probably not, you kind of know, you're like, I don't really credit them, right? Yeah, once.
Do you ever have that feeling when you send something to somebody and you feel like they're blowing smoke up your dress? They're just saying it because they're your friend, saying nice things.
Right. Yeah.
Because you
Sure.
doubt what it is.
Of course.
So it's like you end up not sending it to anybody.
Right. Yeah. Did everyone hear that? That's a great insight. In the back, did you hear that okay? So, yeah, did you have that feeling of like, oh, they're just blowing smoke up your dress, or whatever metaphor you like to put there? And yeah, is that something that it doesn't really feel genuine, doesn't feel supportive? So I think, yeah, you got to keep finding someone else. Don't discredit them. It's like, you know, that's fine. They're nice people. They're probably well-intentioned. They probably love you. And then so it's like, who can you find maybe that doesn't love you? Seriously, that likes you and is maybe ready to do some work, and maybe they're doing some similar work. Like for me, I've gone to like songwriting circles and open mics, and they kind of connect with a couple people and go, oh, you know, they're kind of cool. And maybe we have totally different genres, but at least we can kind of do some comparison shopping. Yes?
I got to share this.
Okay.
A friend of mine, we were talking about making friends and
How do you make friends?
Not how do you make them, how do you qualitize, you know, what's a good quality for a good friend? How do you know a good friend?
Yeah.
And he says, well, you know, my best friend cares more about me than my feelings.
Ah, okay. My best friend cares more about me than my feelings. Well, I would add to that, I guess for me, I would hope they care about me and my feelings, but understand how to hold the space for those feelings. That's what I would hope. So that it's not just someone who's just doing collateral damage because they're opinionated, and you know that's all. Maybe I don't need that, but maybe some people like tough love.
You know.
So that's just a different.
I don't think that's a good friend. A good friend is like going to be both sides. They're going to be critical and constructive.
Yeah.
Because they care about you.
Right.
Not how you feel about the subject, but they care about how you feel.
Right. Well, for me, maybe I'm a little soft. It feels a little like bull in a china shop. Like maybe I don't want that brutal of feedback. You know, so maybe that's where I'm at right now. But for you, that might be great. And you're a very experienced musician who's like, yeah, just tell me what's up. I want to know. Okay, if the chord progression sucks, tell me. You know, I don't want to waste time, right? So, okay, a couple guys here.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Chris.
I want to know the truth. I mean,
You want to know the truth? Yeah.
I already know the truth because I'm already criticizing in that way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're very accomplished and I already know what's up.
Yeah.
What I need is, dude, that's good anyway. Or,
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
you're looking for an objective point of view. So
I want to know the truth, but I don't want to know the blind. Like, don't shine the mirror right in my eyes.
Okay. See, so I think, you know, for each of us has to decide what do we need, you know? So me as like a 2-year-long songwriter, I maybe want somebody who can kind of see a little bit of the germ of what I was trying to create and not just like blow it to hell. So at a recent songwriting retreat I went to by the way, Andrea Stolpe, she's a Berkeley professor. She does these retreats. They're amazing. I'm not paid to say that. But what I loved, she's a master teacher, and the thing she does is she brings you up in front of like 25 people and you're playing your raw song that's not done, and she'll say, she doesn't say anything that she wants to hear in your song. She says, where are you stuck? And I say, well, okay, the chorus to me doesn't seem to flow. And she's like, okay, well, let's work on that. So what are you doing now? And her point is I want to hold the artist's intention as pure and noble and beautiful because to you it meant something and you actually created it. And I think there's something really powerful in that just because your friend doesn't know that or feel that, there's so much music in the world, you could probably find an example of what you're doing out there. So someone has done that or felt like that. And so just because it doesn't have the rules, you know, or the whatever that person has. Now, if you have a perfect collaborator, I'll change the tune. If you have a perfect collaborator who really gets you and knows what you're about and knows what you're trying to go for and challenges you, fine. That may be what you need. That's great. But I'm just saying there's other ways to get support and to find the support you need. Some people want tough love. Some people want the facts. Some people need some coddling and some help because they're coming out of their shell. You know, that's all up to you. But find people, even just find people. Find one or two people that out there that just kind of give you a little bit of that feeling like, hey, we're working on this journey together. You know, and that's why I do the group coaching. It's called Doubters Anonymous, and it's part of the way I do some of this work so people can share their work there. I have authors in there, and sometimes it's a small group, but it's really great. So, all right, I'm going to open up to questions. If you got to get along to something else, you know, feel free. Thanks so much for coming. Oh, I'll give you my info. I'm going to just stick around for a few minutes. That's the book, doubtwritingshotgun.com. You can take photos, and that's my website. And you can find me on social media at Dave Hill Jr. I'm pretty easy to find, and I have a monthly newsletter. And I talk about a lot of things. I talk a lot about songwriting and different things. Self-doubt is just one body of my work. And yeah, so questions, open the floor. Anything's fair game here. Yeah, you were first. Go ahead.
I was wondering, like, what would you do, like if this happened to you? Like, so what if you're like, you know, the...
Here, I'm going to give you a microphone. Just, I think, let's see if this... Testing. Oh, there you go.
Thank you, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, what would you do if you're like, you know, beginning with like a band, let's say, like teaching,
yep.
like playing, right? And if there's another band, like another teacher or player that like has been there for 10 years, right? And if you're new, and if they're like, if they kind of give like offhand comments like,
mm-hmm.
oh, like, you know, like you suck, or like things that are not kind, and like, you know.
Yeah, you're playing with a band, and they're giving you comments like, you suck.
Like from another band, like.
Oh.
You know, like a rival band.
A rival band saying you suck.
Like, yeah, and like telling like,
mm-hmm.
you know, and like just
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do when someone else is
like
taunting you?
Yeah.
Giving you. Yeah.
Like
well.
Like overly competitive people
mm-hmm.
that are very taunting. Like I try to use that as fuel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like,
yeah, it can work.
I feel like a lot of it is like a psychology game of like, you know,
yeah.
trying to like put you down to make sure that like
right.
they're doing good, you know, and maybe there's insecurities there too.
Sure.
On my end and on their end. So like.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Thanks. So I mean, I think it's something we all go through at different points in our life, right? It sounds a little bit like delayed adolescence stuff, you know, like they're kind of like, okay, it's like playground stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to decide what you let in, right? I mean, that's the first. So I think it's kind of back to some of the, why am I doing what I do?
Yeah.
Do I really want to let this other voice in? Is this really valid? So at what point am I letting this other voice in? And it's becoming my doubt, my self-doubt, my problem. And then that's where I think, you know, you can, you know, start to frame it a bit. It's not, you know, I talked about other people's voices can start to become ours, right? And then we're taking that on. So
learn to like kind of like get rid of the noise, just focus on like work, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, different answers for different people, right? I mean, I think Michael Jordan famously used opponents, anything he could find about an opponent to motivate him for every game. He would just make up stuff pretty much and make up a conflict because that tension to him made him dig deeper.
Yeah.
So for some people that might work. You know, that's not my style, but you know, so I think you have to play with it. But I think what's great is you're recognizing it as like they're taunting me. This isn't anything about your art